Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the starship Terra Nova, watching the massive space station grow larger on the main screen. Unity Prime was bigger than anything humans had ever built. It looked like a small metal moon floating in space, covered with lights and moving ships. "Sir, we're getting a welcome message from the station," said Lieutenant Maya Stone from her communications post. She was young, only 25, but she spoke 12 different languages. The Galactic Confederation had many different alien races, and Maya was their best hope for talking to all of them. "Put it on screen," Jake said. He straightened his blue uniform and tried to look calm. This was the biggest moment in human history. After 50 years of space travel, Earth was finally meeting the galaxy's government. A strange creature appeared on the screen. It looked like it was made of living crystal, with bright blue light glowing inside its body. When it spoke, its voice sounded like music. "Welcome, humans of Earth. I am Chancellor Veltar of the Vortak people. We are happy to see you arrive at Unity Prime. Your ship may dock at Bay 7. "Thank you, Chancellor," Jake replied. "We're honored to be here." The screen went dark. Jake turned to look at his team. These were Earth's best people, chosen for this important mission. Dr. Katie Walsh was their alien life expert. She had studied every piece of information about alien races that humans had found. Commander Alex Rivera was their security chief, a tough soldier who had fought in Earth's last war. Dr. Sam Parker was their science advisor, one of the smartest people on Earth. "Remember, everyone," Jake said. "We're not just representing our countries today. We're representing all of humanity. Let's make Earth proud." The Terra Nova docked at Unity Prime an hour later. Jake and his team of 47 people walked through the airlock into the alien station. The first thing that hit them was the smell, like flowers mixed with metal. The air was thick and humid. The docking bay was huge, bigger than a football stadium. Hundreds of different creatures moved around, loading and unloading ships. Jake saw tall, thin beings with 6 arms. He saw creatures that looked like giant insects walking on 2 legs. He saw others that seemed to be made of living water, floating in clear suits. "Amazing," whispered Dr. Katie Walsh. "Look at all the different life forms. This is better than any biology textbook." A group of aliens approached them. The crystal being from the screen was there, along with 2 others. One looked like a giant ant but walked upright like a human. The third was clearly some kind of water creature in a suit filled with blue liquid. "Captain Morrison," the crystal being said. "I am Chancellor Veltar. This is Commander Zix of the Zephyrians, and Admiral Glowwool of the Hydros people. We represent the 3 main races of the Confederation." "It's an honor to meet you all," Jake said. He had practiced this moment many times, but being here felt unreal. "Come," Veltar said. "We have prepared a great ceremony for you. All the galaxy wants to meet the humans." They walked through long corridors filled with aliens. Jake noticed that many of them stared at the humans with curious eyes. Some pointed and whispered to each other. The humans were clearly something new and interesting. The ceremony hall was enormous. Thousands of aliens filled the seats, representing dozens of different races. Jake and his team were led to a platform in the center. Above them, huge screens showed their faces to everyone in the hall. "Citizens of the galaxy," Veltar announced, his musical voice echoing through the hall. "Today we welcome a new race to our great confederation. The humans of Earth have traveled far to join us in peace and friendship." The crowd cheered. Jake felt proud and nervous at the same time. Dr. Katie Walsh smiled and waved at the crowd. She had always dreamed of this moment. "The humans bring many gifts," Veltar continued. "New ideas, new technology, new ways of thinking. We are excited to learn from them and to teach them our ways." After the ceremony, the humans were given rooms in the station's guest area. Jake was in his room, writing his report to Earth, when Maya Stone knocked on his door. "Captain, something's wrong," she said when he let her in. "I've been listening to alien communications. They're not speaking to us in their main languages. They're using simple words, like they're talking to children." "Maybe they're just trying to be helpful," Jake said. But he felt worried too. "No, sir. I heard some Vortak guards talking. They used words like dangerous, and problem when they talked about us. And they kept saying something about controlled integration. Jake frowned. What does that mean? I don't know, but it doesn't sound good. The next morning, Chancellor Veltar invited the humans to a special meeting. This is where we discuss membership rules, he explained as he led them to a smaller room. Every new race must agree to certain conditions. The room had no windows and only one door. Jake noticed guards outside, more than seemed necessary for a simple meeting. Inside, the three alien leaders sat behind a curved table. The humans sat in chairs facing them. Humans are unique, Commander Zixta said. His voice sounded like clicking insects. You fight wars among yourselves. You compete instead of cooperate. You create weapons of great destruction. We've moved beyond those things, Dr. Sam Parker said. Humanity has learned to work together. That's why we're here. Have you? Admiral Glewwool asked. His voice bubbled like water. Your history shows constant conflict. Your biology makes you aggressive. Your technology advances too quickly. Jake felt a chill run down his back. This wasn't going the way they had planned. We have decided, Veltar announced, that humanity requires controlled integration. You must prove that you can follow Confederation law before you can be trusted with full membership. What does that mean exactly? Commander Alex Rivera asked. Veltar's crystal body flashed brighter. It means this delegation will remain here as examples. Your behavior will show other humans how they must act to join the galaxy. You mean we're prisoners? Jake asked, standing up. You are teachers, Zixta replied. Your deaths will teach humanity humility. The words hit like ice water. Maya Stone gasped. Dr. Katie Walsh turned pale. Jake reached for his sidearm, but it wasn't there. The aliens had taken all their weapons before the ceremony. You can't do this, Jake said. We came in peace. We're diplomats. You came as representatives of a dangerous species, Veltar said calmly. Your execution will be broadcast to your homeworld. It will show them the price of disobedience in the galaxy. Guards entered the room, tall, armored beings with energy weapons. The humans were surrounded. There was no escape. As they were led away to prison cells, Jake looked back at his team. These were good people, the best Earth had to offer. They had come to make friends and build bridges. Instead, they had walked into a trap. In his cell that night, Jake could only think about Earth, and wonder if humanity would ever learn what had really happened here. The galaxy was not the friendly place they had hoped to find. It was something much darker, and now Earth was alone against it. Communications Officer Lisa Carter hid in the dark maintenance tunnel beneath Unity Prime's docking bay. Her heart pounded so hard she was afraid the alien guards might hear it. Through the metal grating above her head, she could hear boots walking back and forth. 3 days had passed since the aliens arrested Captain Morrison and the rest of the human delegation. Lisa had been in the Terra Nova's communication room when it happened, monitoring alien broadcasts. When security forces stormed the ship, she had crawled into the maintenance systems and hidden. For 3 days, she had eaten emergency food packets and drunk water from the ship's pipes. She had watched through security cameras as aliens searched every room, every closet, every storage area. But they never found the hidden tunnel system that maintenance crews used. Lisa was small and thin, which helped her move through the narrow spaces. She had been a gymnast in college before joining the space service. Now those skills kept her alive. On the 4th day, she heard terrible news over the alien communication channels. The execution would happen at noon, Galactic Standard Time. It would be broadcast live across the galaxy as a lesson to other problematic species. Lisa had to do something. She couldn't save her friends, but she could make sure Earth learned the truth. She crawled through the tunnels toward the Terra Nova's emergency escape pods. The ship was empty now. The aliens had taken everything they thought was valuable and left the rest. Lisa made her way to Pod Bay 3. The pod was small, designed for one person, with enough supplies for 2 weeks in space. She worked quickly to download all the ship's records onto portable storage devices. The security cameras had recorded everything: the fake ceremony, the arrest, the alien leaders talking about humanity being too dangerous to live free. But Lisa needed more than just recordings. She needed proof of what the Confederation really was. Using her communication skills, she hacked into Unity Prime's central computer system. The alien security was strong, but it was designed to keep people out, not to stop someone who was already inside their station. What she found made her sick to her stomach. Files showing hundreds of other species that had been integrated into the Confederation. Most had been enslaved or killed. Their worlds were taken, their people scattered. The galaxy was not a peaceful place ruled by wise leaders. It was an empire built on fear and death. Lisa copied everything she could find. Names, dates, locations, battle plans, species profiles. She learned that the Confederation had 3 types of species: rulers, slaves, and dead ones. Humanity was marked for the 3rd category. The execution was about to begin. Lisa sealed herself into the escape pod and began the launch sequence. She had programmed it to look like debris from the Terra Nova, drifting slowly away from the station. If she was lucky, the aliens wouldn't notice one small piece of metal floating in space. Through the pod's small window, Lisa watched Unity Prime's main screen light up. The execution was beginning. She saw Captain Morrison and the others brought onto a platform. They stood straight and proud, even though they knew they were about to die. Chancellor Veltar spoke to the galaxy. "These humans came to us with violence in their hearts and weapons in their hands. They represent a species that cannot learn peace. Let their deaths teach their homeworld the price of defying the Confederation." It was all lies, but billions of aliens across the galaxy believed it. Lisa recorded everything, tears running down her face as she watched her friends die one by one. Dr. Katie Walsh, who had wanted to study alien plants. Commander Rivera, who had 3 children back on Earth. Maya Stone, who spoke so many languages and loved meeting new people. Captain Morrison was the last to die. Before they killed him, he looked directly at the camera and said, "Earth will remember this. Humanity does not forget our dead." The aliens laughed at his words. They thought Earth was too far away and too weak to do anything about it. They were wrong. Lisa's escape pod drifted in space for 18 days. She rationed her food and water carefully. She sent radio signals toward human space, but she was too far away for anyone to hear. All she could do was wait and hope. On the 19th day, her sensors picked up a ship. It was the cargo vessel New Boston, carrying supplies to human colonies in the outer systems. Captain Bob Martinez was surprised to find an escape pod so far from any known human ships. "This is Captain Martinez of the New Boston," his voice crackled over the radio. "Identify yourself." "This is Communications Officer Lisa Carter of the Terra Nova," she replied, crying with relief. "I have urgent information for Earth Command. The delegation is dead. The aliens killed them all." 2 weeks later, Lisa stood in the Pentagon on Earth, facing the most powerful people in the human government. President Helen Brooks sat at the head of the table. Around her were generals, admirals, scientists, and intelligence chiefs. "Show them the recordings," President Brooks said quietly. Lisa played the videos on the main screen. The room was silent as they watched the execution of Earth's best diplomats. When it was over, several people had tears in their eyes. Others looked angry enough to break furniture. Admiral Nick Thompson, head of Space Command, spoke first. "How many ships do they have?" "Thousands," Lisa replied. "Maybe tens of thousands. They control most of the galaxy. And they see us as a threat. They see us as dangerous animals that need to be put down. According to their files, they've done this to dozens of other species. We're not the first." General Paul Garcia leaned forward. "What about defenses? Weaknesses?" Lisa brought up her stolen files. "The Vortak need crystal energy sources. Destroy those, and their ships stop working. The Zephyrians use hive mind communication, jam it, and they can't coordinate. The Hydros need specific water mixtures to breathe." President Brooks stood up. "Ladies and gentlemen, as of this moment, Earth is at war. Not a war we chose, but one that was forced on us. Admiral Thompson, I want every available ship armed and ready. General Garcia, mobilize all ground forces. Dr. Kim, get our best scientists working on weapons that can exploit alien weaknesses." "What about the other human colonies?" asked Admiral Carroll Davis from Naval Intelligence. "Should we warn them?" "Warning them won't help," the President replied. "The aliens think they've taught us to be afraid. They expect us to hide and beg for mercy. Instead, we're going to show them what happens when you murder human children." Lisa felt a chill at the President's words. She had served with those people who died. They were her friends, her family. But she knew the President was right. The galaxy had just made the biggest mistake in its history. "How long do we have?" asked Colonel Amy Foster from Special Operations. "According to alien communications, they plan to send a fleet to Earth in 6 months," Lisa replied. "They want to make sure we understood their message before they finish the job." President Brooks smiled, but it was not a pleasant smile. 6 months. That should be enough time to prepare a proper welcome for them. As the meeting ended and people filed out to begin their preparations, Lisa remained behind with the President. "You did well, Officer Carter," President Brooks said. "Your friends died heroes, and you made sure their sacrifice meant something." "What happens now?" Lisa asked. "Now we remind the galaxy why predators should never corner their prey. Humanity has been peaceful because we chose to be. That choice just ended." Lisa nodded. She thought about Captain Morrison's last words, "Humanity does not forget our dead." The galaxy was about to learn exactly what that meant. 6 months later, Earth looked like a completely different world. Dr. Rachel Kim stood in her laboratory at the Colorado Research Center, watching her team test their latest creation. The weapon looked simple, just a metal tube about the size of a baseball bat. But when they fired it at a piece of Vortac crystal, the crystal shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. "The sonic frequency is perfect," said Dr. Ben Clark, her research partner. "It disrupts the crystal structure at the molecular level. One hit from this, and their entire power system goes down." Rachel nodded, but she felt no joy in the discovery. These weapons existed because 47 good people had died. Her job was to make sure their deaths were not wasted. "What about the electromagnetic pulse grenades for the Zephyrians?" she asked. "Ready for mass production," Ben replied. "We've tested them on captured alien communication devices. They completely scramble the hive mind signals for up to an hour." "And the atmospheric scramblers for the hydros?" "Those are trickier. We need to get close to their ships to use them. But once we change the gas mixture in their breathing systems, they can't function." Rachel looked at her watch. In 2 hours, she would present these weapons to Admiral Thompson and the War Council. Earth's response to the alien threat was almost ready. Outside her laboratory, the entire planet was preparing for war. Factories that once made cars now built spaceships. Companies that made computers now created targeting systems. Every major city had recruitment centers where people signed up to join the fight. The moon had been turned into a giant military base. Captain Tony Martinez walked through the construction areas, watching engineers install weapons on the new warships. These were not exploration vessels like the Terra Nova. These ships existed for one purpose: to kill aliens. "How many ships will we have?" asked Major Dan Wright, his operations chief. 200 combat vessels," Tony replied. "Plus support ships and fighters. Not as many as they have, but we don't need to match their numbers. We just need to hit them hard enough to make them regret what they did." Tony had volunteered for combat duty the day after Lisa Carter returned with the news. He had 2 sons, both in college, both planning to join the space service after graduation. This war was about making sure they had a future worth living. The new ships were smaller than alien vessels, but much faster. Human engineers had designed them to move quickly and strike without warning. They carried the new weapons Dr. Kim had developed, plus some older human technology that aliens had never seen. "Sir, Admiral Thompson wants to see you in the command center," said Lieutenant Amy Cole, Tony's communications officer. The command center was built inside a mountain in Colorado. It was connected to every military base on Earth and every ship in space. Admiral Thompson stood in front of a huge display showing the galaxy. Red dots marked alien positions. Blue dots showed human forces. "Captain Martinez," the Admiral said, "you'll be commanding the attack on Kepler 7. It's a Zephyrian military base about 200 light-years from Earth." Tony studied the display. Kepler-7 was marked as a major enemy position, with dozens of ships and thousands of alien soldiers. Why there, sir? Because that base coordinates alien expansion in our region of space. Destroy it, and we cut their communication lines to a dozen other worlds. Plus, our intelligence shows they're planning to use it as a staging area for the attack on Earth. Admiral Thompson touched a control, and the display zoomed in on Kepler-7. You'll have 50 ships for this mission. Hit them fast and hard, then get out before reinforcements arrive. What about prisoners, sir? The Admiral's face went cold. The aliens didn't take prisoners when they murdered our people. We're returning the favor. Tony felt a chill, but he understood. This was not a normal war with normal rules. The aliens had made it clear that they planned to wipe out humanity. Earth's response would be just as final. In orbit around Earth, Captain Steve Johnson stood on the bridge of his new ship, the Retribution. It was the largest human warship ever built, designed to carry the most powerful weapons they had created. His crew was made up of volunteers from every human military service. "Captain, we're getting a transmission from the surface," said his communications officer, Lieutenant Kelly Stone. She was Maya Stone's younger sister, and she had requested this assignment specifically. "Put it through," Steve said. Lisa Carter's face appeared on the screen. She was now a major, promoted after her heroic escape from Unity Prime. "Steve, are you ready up there?" "As ready as we can be." "How are things on your end?" "Final preparations are complete. All our intelligence assets are in place. When you hit Kepler-7, we'll know within minutes if they're calling for help." Steve nodded. Lisa had become Earth's expert on alien communications. She spent her days listening to enemy transmissions, learning their patterns, understanding how they thought. "Any word from our spy networks?" Steve asked. "Some interesting information. It seems the Confederation is having internal problems. Several slave species are getting restless. They're asking questions about why the humans had to die." "Good. Doubt is a powerful weapon." "Steve," Lisa said quietly, "when you hit them tomorrow, remember what Captain Morrison said. Humanity doesn't forget our dead." The transmission ended. Steve looked around his bridge. His officers were young, most of them in their 20s and 30s. They had volunteered to fight an enemy that outnumbered them 1,000 to 1. But humans had advantages the aliens didn't understand. Human soldiers could think independently. They could adapt to new situations. They could fight with individual creativity while still working as a team. The aliens were used to fighting species that followed predictable patterns. The Vortak used crystal technology that followed specific rules. The Zephyrians relied on hive mind coordination. The Hydros moved in organized formations. Humans were different. They could be organized when they needed to be, but they could also be completely chaotic. A human pilot might ignore orders if he saw a better opportunity. A human commander might change tactics in the middle of battle. Human soldiers might fight harder when things looked hopeless. The aliens thought they understood warfare because they had conquered so many other species. But they had never fought humans before. On the planet's surface, President Brooks met with her cabinet for the final war council. Around the table sat the most important people in human government: generals, admirals, scientists, intelligence chiefs, and economists. "The alien fleet will reach Earth in 3 weeks," Admiral Thompson reported. "Our scouts confirm they have over 500 ships heading this way." "And our response?" the President asked. "Operation Payback begins tomorrow. We hit 12 alien targets simultaneously across the galaxy. If everything goes according to plan, we'll destroy their forward bases and communication centers before they even know we're fighting back." Dr. Kim leaned forward. "The weapons are ready. Every ship has sonic disruptors for Vortak crystals, electromagnetic pulse devices for Zephyrian hive minds, and atmospheric scramblers for Hydro's life support." "What about civilian casualties?" asked Secretary of State Jim Walsh. The room went quiet. President Brooks looked around the table before answering. "The aliens didn't worry about civilian casualties when they murdered our diplomats. They broadcast it across the galaxy as entertainment. But we're not them. Military targets only, unless civilians are actively supporting enemy forces." "And after we win?" asked Treasury Secretary Carol White. "After we win," the president replied, "we make sure this never happens again. The galaxy has been ruled by fear for too long. It's time for something better." As the meeting ended, Admiral Thompson approached the president privately. "Ma'am, are you sure about this? Once we start shooting, there's no going back. The entire galaxy will be our enemy." President Brooks looked out the window at the lights of Washington, D.C. Somewhere out there, families were saying goodbye to sons and daughters heading off to fight. Children were asking parents why the nice aliens on TV had turned out to be murderers. "Admiral, they made their choice when they killed our people. Now we make ours. Tomorrow, the galaxy learns what happens when you threaten humanity's children." The Admiral nodded and left to make final preparations. In 18 hours, human ships would attack alien positions across the galaxy. The greatest war in human history was about to begin. But it would not be the kind of war the aliens expected. They thought they were fighting another weak species that would beg for mercy. Instead, they were about to face the fury of a species that had climbed to the top of Earth's food chain by being the most dangerous predators in the history of their world. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake. Tomorrow, they would begin to understand just how terrible. Captain Steve Johnson watched the stars change from white streaks back to points of light as the Retribution dropped out of hyperspace. On the main screen, Kepler 7 appeared as a brown and yellow planet surrounded by alien ships. 43 enemy vessels detected, reported Lieutenant Ryan Bell from the sensor station. "Looks like mostly Zephyrian designs, with some Vortax support ships." "Just like intelligence predicted," Steve said. He turned to his communications officer. "Kelly, send the signal to all ships. Attack pattern Alpha. Hit them hard and fast." Across the human fleet, 50 warships powered up their weapons. The aliens on Kepler 7 had no idea what was coming. They expected Earth to be cowering in fear after seeing their diplomats executed. They thought humans had learned their lesson. They were wrong. "All ships report ready, Captain," Kelly said. "Begin the attack." The human fleet spread out and charged toward the alien positions. The enemy ships were caught completely off guard. They scrambled to raise shields and return fire, but it was too late. Steve watched the battle unfold on his tactical display. Human fighters, small and fast, swarmed around the larger alien ships like angry wasps. They fired electromagnetic pulse weapons at the Zephyrian vessels, disrupting their hive mind communications. Without coordination, the insect aliens couldn't work together. Their ships crashed into each other or fired at empty space where they thought enemies might be. "Direct hit on their command ship," reported Major Dan Wright from the weapons station. "Their crystal power core is completely shattered." The Vortax support vessels were having even worse problems. Human sonic weapons destroyed their crystal energy systems in seconds. Without power, their ships drifted helplessly in space while human fighters picked them apart. "Captain, we're getting surrender signals from 12 enemy vessels," Kelly said. Steve's face went hard. "No prisoners. They didn't offer mercy to Captain Morrison and his people. We don't offer mercy to them." The battle lasted only 37 minutes. When it was over, every alien ship was destroyed or disabled. The human fleet had lost only 3 fighters and suffered minor damage to 2 cruisers. But this was just the beginning. 2 hours later, similar attacks took place across the galaxy. Human fleet struck alien bases at Tau Ceti, Wolf 359, and 8 other systems. The aliens had never faced coordinated attacks on multiple targets. They didn't know how to respond. On the Confederation capital world, Chancellor Veltar received the reports with growing alarm. In one day, humans had destroyed more military assets than any enemy had managed in the past 100 years. "How is this possible?" he asked Commander Zixta. "Our intelligence said Earth had fewer than 20 warships." "Our intelligence was wrong," the insect leader replied. "They must have been building a secret fleet while pretending to be peaceful." "What about our attack fleet heading to Earth?" "Still 3 weeks away. But now I'm not sure it's large enough." Veltar's crystal body flashed angry red. "Increase the fleet to 1,000 ships. I want Earth turned into dead rock. These humans are more dangerous than we thought." But while the aliens prepared their response, human forces were already moving to their next targets. Captain Tony Martinez led a smaller fleet toward the Hydro's mining world of Aqua Prime. This was where the water aliens processed metals for their war machines. "Remember," Tony told his captains over the communication link, "we're not here to occupy territory. We're here to destroy their ability to make war. Hit the mining equipment, the processing plants, and the orbital refineries. Leave nothing they can use." The attack on Aqua Prime was different from the battle at Kepler 7. The Hydros had learned from the earlier defeats and were ready for human tactics. But they still didn't understand how humans fought. Where aliens used careful formations and planned maneuvers, humans improvised. When the original attack plan hit unexpected defenses, human commanders changed their approach in real time. Captain Susan Lee found herself facing a heavily defended space station. Instead of retreating, she ordered her ship to ram straight through the station's docking bay. Her crew fired atmospheric scramblers as they passed through, poisoning the air that kept the Hydro's aliens alive. Major Carl Davis led a ground assault on the planet's main mining facility. When alien defenders tried to trap his forces in the processing center, Davis ordered his engineers to blow up the entire complex. The explosion destroyed millions of credits worth of equipment and sent a message to other alien worlds. By the end of the first week, human forces had hit 37 different alien targets. The Confederation military was in chaos. Their commanders couldn't predict where humans would strike next or how they would attack. Admiral Thompson studied the reports in his Colorado command center. The first phase of Operation Payback was succeeding beyond their best hopes. But he knew the aliens would adapt quickly. "Sir, we're intercepting alien communications," reported Colonel Amy Foster. "They're calling back ships from all over the galaxy to defend their core worlds." "Good. That gives us more targets with lighter defenses." Lisa Carter, now promoted to colonel, entered the command center with her latest intelligence reports. "Admiral, I've got information about something called the Vortak Crystal Gardens. They're massive energy farms that power their entire civilization." Thompson looked at the data Lisa provided. The Crystal Gardens were located on 6 different worlds, each one heavily defended by orbital fortresses and patrol fleets. "If we could destroy these," Lisa continued, "we'd knock out power to hundreds of Vortak worlds. Their entire military machine would shut down." "It would be a suicide mission," Admiral Thompson said. "Each garden is protected by more ships than our entire fleet." "Not if we attack all 6 at the same time," Lisa replied. "Spread their defenses thin. Hit them when they least expect it." The Admiral considered this. It was risky, but it could end the war in weeks instead of years. "I'll need volunteers for this one," he said. "Anyone who goes probably won't come back." "Sir," Lisa said quietly, "I'd like to lead one of the attack groups. I was there when they murdered Captain Morrison and the others. I want to be the one who turns off their lights." 3 days later, human fleets launched coordinated attacks on all 6 Crystal Gardens. The battles were fierce and costly. Earth lost 40 ships and over 2,000 crew members. But they succeeded. When the last Crystal Garden exploded in a chain reaction that lit up half a solar system, power went out across the Vortak Empire. Their ships stopped moving. Their cities went dark. Their communication networks failed. The crystal beings had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years, but they had never faced an enemy willing to destroy the foundation of their civilization. Chancellor Veltar stood in his darkened throne room, lit only by emergency crystals. For the first time in his long life, he felt something his species rarely experienced: fear. "How many worlds have gone dark?" he asked his aide. 437, my lord. And the number is growing as secondary systems fail." "What about our fleet heading to Earth?" "Still en route, but without the Crystal Gardens to provide navigation data, they're having to rely on backup systems. Their arrival will be delayed by at least a week." Veltar realized that the humans had outmaneuvered them completely. While the Confederation was preparing to destroy Earth, humans were systematically destroying everything that made Confederation civilization possible. "Send a message to all military commanders," Veltar ordered. "Recall all fleets to defend the core worlds. Earth can wait. First, we must survive." But as alien fleets rushed back to protect their homelands, they found human forces already there waiting for them. Captain Steve Johnson and the Retribution had arrived at the Vortak home system 3 days earlier. The aliens were no longer hunting humans. Now, humans were hunting them. And humans, Steve reflected as he watched alien ships burn in the darkness of space, had always been very good hunters. They had learned how to hunt on a world where everything else was trying to kill them. Now they were bringing those skills to the stars. The galaxy was about to discover what Earth's children could do when someone threatened their family.